But don't forget, you can watch us too. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. Today, we get to talk to the founder behind Amiable Arts Foundation. She is empowering young minds through the arts, providing opportunities in theater, music, dance, and so much more. And she's my friend, Miss Amia. Hey, Miss Amia.
Hey, Rebecca.
It's so good to have you back in the seat, in the saddle, so to speak. But you never left the saddle of what your dream and vision was for your foundation.
Never.
So,
we've grown so much.
I know. So
Yeah.
for those who may never have heard of Amiable Arts, or maybe
Yeah.
it's been a minute,
Yeah.
how do you describe it to folks?
So the Amiable Arts Foundation is a harbor that enriches, mentors, and helps guide underserved youth to possible careers in the creative arts.
Mm-hmm.
So just the elevator pitch that I tell people, we're just a safe place for the underserved creative kid
Right.
that wants to act, sing, dance. We're just a safe place for them to nourish their talents and dreams.
Because sadly, a lot of school districts have seen the arts or the emphasis in that go down over the years due to a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
Which means that there's a gap that needs to be filled.
There's a huge gap, and especially in certain areas of our community, right? So if you just look at Thalia Mara Hall today, and there are so many children in certain communities who have no idea who Thalia Mara is, why ballet is a huge thing for Jackson, and I'm one to change that. So,
Yeah.
of course, it started as my medium of choice is acting. But if you remember, we started doing baby Broadway plays and short films, and the baby Broadway took off. Of course, that's 100% student-led. So not only, this year we're doing Annie Jr., so not only do we have a Annie, but we also have a director who's the same age. And so there's critical thinking involved, there's enrichment, and now we've got future contractors who are building their own sets. Everybody has to read the book, so the guys that are building the sets have to understand why the orphanage has to look dreary and why the new mansion has to look fabulous, and how do we make it where it's light and movable and we can move it in a short amount of time to keep the show going. So that's what we do, and now we've expanded. Someone was so generous to donate keyboards to us, and now we're going to be offering free piano lessons to those interested, in those parents, and we're also offering ballet lessons now.
Wow.
So yeah, so I always tell my my students, Miss Amia can't get you a scholarship for twerking, but we can get a scholarship for ballet. So there's nothing wrong with knowing both.
Right.
Right, and so that's what we do, and we're having our first fundraiser because we've definitely outgrown visiting local auditoriums with the schools, and
Because that's how you've survived, is being able to
go to the different
kind of
campuses.
be little pop-ups in campus.
Yeah, and we have standing room only every time we do a show, and so some parents are getting irritated with us because the community wants to come support. So we are raising funds so we can have our own venue to host shows, to offer tutoring, which is something we do now. We definitely offer tutoring. Every student has to at least have a C average to participate in anything, and we're going to work hard on getting that C to a B. So that's what Amiable is. That's what we do. Just last week, JPS got their report cards. I had 2 young backstage guys run to me at rehearsal, and I thought they were happy to see me, and they were, I think, but they were showing me their report cards, and we took those D's to B's.
Oh, that's
Right?
awesome.
And
Yeah.
I know,
And they were proud of it. That's
and
the
they
part.
were proud of it.
That's
and they
the key.
looked forward. So many of our young stars tell me this makes school fun. It's because it's their show, and they're starting to have critical thinking and confidence, quite frankly, because they're having a place to express themselves, to maybe talk it out. Like, one of my favorite stories was when we first did The Wiz, and we had Dorothy, and Dorothy was popular. She was a cheerleader, the whole nine. And she said,
Sorry.
shout out to The Wiz, which is very expensive to put on because the kids kept asking me to do it. But anyways, she was Dorothy, and she said, well, my mama told me if anybody want to see me, I need to stand right. So she can see me, I need to stand right here. And so we had a young lady that was over lights, and she was shy, and she didn't have the confidence to come and speak up to the popular girl. And we adults tend to sit back as much as possible so they can learn, hey, this is the time the show has to be over. You've got to move. You got to make the right decisions and the tough decisions to keep the show going. So one day, the young lady with lights walked up unexpectedly in front of everybody. She said, with tape in her hand, an X on the floor, if you want your mama to see you while I'm on the lights, you stand here. And she walked right backstage and had that light ready. But I love that story because right then it was a lesson for both. Mm-hmm. Nobody is too big for the show and nobody is too small. Everybody has a part to make the magic. And that's what Amiable is doing.
Amia, have you had students for multiple years now when you first started and graduated through? And now you're seeing them mentoring. Like it takes a minute for it to start to sow its seeds, right? But you're seeing it.
So I'll see some that were first year. So Jeremy is one of mine. He started our first year, and he started backstage, and then the next year he was Willy Wonka himself, and he won Best Actor, and then the next year he wanted to be a director, and he won Best Director, and now he's auditioning for all kind of stuff, and he's with New Stage. He's just all over the place, and that's what I love, is that they have the confidence now. He's with the debate team. He's doing everything. So I really know that Amiable is not only protecting the academic integrity, right, but we're also encouraging them to think outside the box with their creativity and shoot for the stars. And that's what we're doing with Dancing for the Stars.
I was been saying that's exactly what you're doing too, to take your vision to the biggest heights, which is having your own building.
Yes.
I have to say another vision you had, Amia, that I think you brought to fruition is the symphony orchestra.
The street symphony. Yes.
You worked on that for years, and you saw that come to life.
We did. Thanks to the Mississippi Arts Commission, we did have a street symphony. That was a lot of lessons for me there. Yeah. But it was a beautiful Halloween event. We do look forward to doing it again. But what I learned with that is we did help. I think we got 10 students knowing how to read their music. But what I've learned is that we definitely have to find a way where instruments are more accessible. Being able to read the music is one thing. Being able to practice your music in a safe place where you can grow and become your own artist is another. So again, that shifts my focus to where we need our own venue. So if you want to learn how to play the guitar and mama say you too loud or whatever's happening, come to the Amiable Arts Center. Let's get down. Get in there, learn your piano, you get over there, and we all going to have a show together.
Well, it sounds like you're doing the exact same thing that has been proven to work so well with community centers when it comes to things like rec or basketball or, all that. And that's got its place. But you have all these other kids have these other interests and sort of ideas and creative outlets that also need a place for that to be fostered and in a safe space and given the opportunity to do. Because you see it, people will say that, kids aren't interested in that anymore. They just want to play video games. They just want to do TikToks. And I would say the interest is there. The opportunity is just not for everybody.
I think the opportunity is definitely there, but I think we are limiting our views on what art is. TikTok is full of people doing what? Dancing, cooking. That's culinary art.
That's true.
They're making hodgepodge and arts and crafts. So there's just another way that it's being reproduced. And I think we're overlooking that. And I think Mississippi as a whole tends to not enrich in the arts unless there's fame involved. And so, like I'll tell all my children, everybody has to read the book before we do a play. And they'll complain, the reading's boring. A child's going to be a child. And I just remind them, Tyler Perry knows how to read and write.
This is true.
Right? Beyonce knows how to read her contracts. Are you ready for that life? And then that tends to hush them up because they see the steps that they have to take. And of course, the backstage guys like, I don't have to read the script. I just got to build a house. No, that's not what building a set is involved.
There's a
You
lot of
got
math involved in that too.
a lot of math and science. We make them mix the paint. Let me hush.
No, don't let you hush. Well, we got more with Amia coming up next here on Good Things
Thank you.
Radio station. You can watch us too. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. Continuing our conversation with Miss Amia Edwards. She is the founder of Amiable Arts Foundation. Now we've got one of her board members in the house, Dr. Justin Turner. You may know that name. He's a physician and the medical director for the Mississippi State Department of Health, but he's also one of her dancers for their upcoming. Yeah. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, Dancing with the Stars. Excuse me. That's right. Dancing for the Stars. That's a big word.
No
means no lawsuits. Dancing for the Stars. Thank you. How did this come about for you as your first big fundraiser?
I was watching a very successful show.
Can't imagine what the name of that is.
And I was just looking at who people were, moving and I was like, local people could do this. And then I just started from there. Mm-hmm. And Doc was one of the first people. I do think it's important that a board member is part of the cast every year. So I naturally reached out to Doc first because he was my first board member. And it just started from there.
Well, let's start there, Dr. Turner, because you were the first board member for Amiable Arts Foundation. So what was it about Amia's vision that you could see that you wanted to be a part of? As busy as you are and all the other things that you felt like, hey, I want to put my name and time and effort and energy into what she's trying to do here in Central Mississippi.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to come on and be a part of the show. I've always admired you from afar, so it's nice to finally connect. I truly feel honored. I'll say that relationships matter. And I heard one of my mentors say relationships are currency, and they can, get you places that prices can't. And Amia and I have had a great relationship since our days at Jackson State back in 1999.
He's dating you.
So before Amia asked me to do this, I already knew the heart of Amia. I already knew the character of Amia. So I didn't have an option to tell her no. I had an obligation, because if she's trying to do something positive, I think it's paramount that people rally and get behind her. There's so much chatter as it relates to our society, what's going on with our youth and different things like that. So when someone is trying to do something positive to impact the community, why wouldn't I stop despite my business and figure out how to make time to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem?
I was going to say, when someone's trying to create solutions or create opportunities, then we put more energy there than just bickering over all the other. We would see a lot more forward progress. And forward dancing. That's what we're going to be doing with your Dancing for the Stars that's coming up. How does this work? Because this is this weekend, right?
Right. It's Saturday, and we'll be at the Union Station. Our cocktail hour begins at 6. Black tie, so come out. So we've got Doc here, Dr. Justin Turner, and his wife, Mrs. Elisha Roberts Turner. We've got Capital City Chief Bo Lucky. He's dancing with his daughter, Mrs. Abby Lucky. And we've got State Rep Fabian Nelson. Yes. And yours truly, the founder of the foundation, Amia Edwards.
So did they all learn the same dance, or did you get to pick a... No, okay.
Everybody picked a song. And we've been practicing every Sunday for about a month. It feels longer than that. But everybody picked a song, and we have background dancers. So we're not just like a hit show that you may hear about. We are definitely adding our own spin to it, because a big part of our mission is to empower those who want careers in the arts. So we partnered with the Montage Dance Theater down at Hines Community College. And so they're our background. So then we have kids that are in college. They have an opportunity to show what they're learning and to reach back and give to the kids that want to look up to them. So it's just the gift that keeps giving.
And hopefully it'll give you the opportunity to create that building.
Yes.
Or that place. Maybe not create the building, but find the perfect place. Yeah. Dr. Turner, what would it be like to see Amia finally have that central place where all the things she's doing in the arts in the schools here, to finally have a sign on the door, to be able to come, for kids to feel safe and have an outlet to explore the arts?
Truly the icing on the cake. When someone shares their vision, it takes special people to be able to see that. You know, a lot of times in business, sometimes it's hard for the employees or other people to see the vision because God didn't give them the vision. But Amia and I, we're like kindred spirits and have a divine connection. So it hasn't been stated, but she's actually my realtor as well. So every property that I own personally and professionally, she has sold it to me. And she and I, we talked about this vision in '99 before she even became a realtor. I wanted to become a doctor and give back to the community. And the vision God gave me was treating the whole person. So similarly, what Amia has talked about for all these years is treating the whole child, treating the whole youth. So if she can have this facility, which would mean so much to our boys and girls to be able to have a place where we're not having to rent, we're not having to worry about if we can be truly free and providing what we want to provide, whether it's piano lessons, whether it's a mentorship to the side for a child that may be acting out and maybe, you know, just needs some support. You know, someone is struggling with self-confidence, so they may need to, you know, just, it helps to be able to have the freedom to do what you need to do. With me having my own building and not having to work for someone else, I became such a better doctor.
When we talk about your passion, Dr. Turner, is obviously the physical health, but how does kids having the opportunity to explore their passions or be introduced to things that challenge their mind and get them more confident in front, like the arts do for their overall health? I mean, it may not, you know, strengthen their muscle. Well, it can in some other ways.
Right.
But you see what I'm saying? How does that sort of work into that holistic view of taking care of the whole child?
Rebecca, the biggest testimony that I've heard from Amia and the youth that have come through Amiable is just seeing how these students are coming in with, let's just say, a 2.5 GPA or 2.2 GPA, and they're participating in a production, whether it's the lead role or behind the scenes, you know, handling the lights. And going back to school, I think it was just last week where we had a text from a student where, I mean, all the grades are improving. Like that make my heart feel good. Like I go to sleep at night feeling like, man, I'm a part of something awesome because I have children and I have a 15-year-old, a 7-year-old. So as the parent trying to get our children to understand the importance of education, knowing that they're capable and them not seeing it, to know that there's foundations like hers that help to wake up that part of the limbic system, to wake up the creative mind to be able to say, hey, yeah, you know what? Yeah, my parents been telling me all my life that I can do it, but I didn't really know it until I did this play, and I actually did good. I remembered the lines, Rebecca. You know, I was able to really just command the stage. It's like, yeah, we've been telling you that you can do it.
Yeah.
So just to see the manifestation of it for them, for that light bulb to come on,
And
man, I want to do even more.
They connect, like, I have to keep up my grades so I can keep up in theater. Who cares?
Right.
They recognize that there is, like, that's the buy-in to be able to do what it is I want to have to do this thing I don't necessarily enjoy to get to do the thing that I enjoy, and that is pretty much life.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
Sometimes you got to do do the things you don't necessarily want to do, so you get to do things that you really want to.
And I just think the arts are often overlooked, but arts are everything. So just in the realm of getting a movie done, makeup is science. Ask Max Factor, right? He was a scientist and he made product. Wigs are also science. How do I make these fibers look realistic like real human hair? The lights are science and math. The stage is science and math. The sound, all of that. And so we often overlook that these are also all real careers that these young artists can grow into. So just because they want to be a stage designer, no, that's not necessarily fame, but have you looked at what a stage and set designer makes? If you do a production for Beyonce,
right,
that's not a cheap feat, right?
No.
So that's what I want to get the community to start thinking about, is there's more in art than the glitter. Of course, that's part of our brand. We're raising stars and helping them shoot for it. But it's important for me to protect their academia, because like one of my favorite stories, I think we're talking about the young lady who wanted to go for swim, right? So she was backstage and JPS had just started a swim team, and she was plus size. So she waited till after, and I just got through being Miss Amia, and she wants, I had just got back from that audition in Atlanta where I got cast as Queen Latifah. Okay, so she was one to sit next to me because she's thinking I'm finna be famous. She said, so Miss Amia, when you get in front of cameras and stage, you don't be scared that people gonna talk about you because you overweight? I was like, no, because me being overweight is how I got Queen Latifah. Hello. And she said, well, what if you had to do it in a swimsuit? And then that's when I connected the dots. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a swim team. I said, well, baby, they make swimsuits in all kind of sizes. And I have yet to see an ocean that the Lord made that I can't fit in. And quite frankly, if I'm in it, I need to know how to swim away from that shark.
Absolutely.
And so the next week, she came in the rehearsal, ear to ear. I was like, what's up? She said, I made the swim team, Miss Amia.
Oh, my gosh. That's one of many
then
stories.
I see her the next year. She's no longer overweight. So I was sad to lose one for the big girl team, but she's healthier and happier.
Amia, how do we buy our tickets for tomorrow night?
DancingForTheStars.org.
And if we want to
out.
support what you're doing with Amiable Arts?
AmiableArtsFoundation.org. Come check us out.
Come check
do.
it out. I appreciate you
Thank
both and your
y'all.
time. You stick with us. We got more for you. We got Movies with Tanya coming up next.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah. Speaking of